Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Tirzah Zubeidah, and I'm a senior lecturer in University Selangor. And my co-presenter is Madam Nazima Versi Kudus from UITM Pulau Pinang. And we're going to present a paper titled Shame, Secrets and Gossip in the Maid Servant Story. Okay, so let me just share my screen. So that's the title of our presentation today. And this is the particular short story that we have chosen. And basically it tells about the relationship between Manish and her aunt Mashi, and how Mashi tells her about a maidservant who used to serve in their family. So the narrative starts in the present, okay, from Manish's first person point of view, as she describes her return to India and her meeting with her mother and her aunt Mashi. So it seems that Manish is not very close to her mother. Instead, she is very close to her aunt Mashi. So Manish and Mashi talk about Manish's future wedding plans, and also how her aunt used to prepare for her wedding in the past. So Manish informs her aunt that she wants to have a saffron Benarasi sari for her wedding. However, her aunt Mashi says that it is a sorrowful color and that the color reminds her of a story. So as Mashi proceeds to tell the story, the narration changes to third person omniscient narration, and it moves on to something which happened in the past. So this type of narration involves a narrator who knows a lot about the characters, even to the extent of delving into their feelings and emotions. This particular technique, in which another story is told within a story, is called a frame narrative. The original story usually sets the stage for several smaller stories or subplots. So this story is set in a close-knit Asian community, and there are specific requirements and regulations which should be adhered to by the community members. So which includes members of the communities. So if one fails to do so in the form of committing certain acts of wrongdoing or transgression, one would face the risk of being punished and made to feel ashamed, forced to harbor certain secrets, as well as being ostracized and gossiped about by other community members. So first of all, we will look at the representation of silence involving shame. So as stated by Bose and Varghese, in South Asian culture, the concept of shame is known as sharam in Hindi and Urdu. The concept is an ideological mechanism which limits the female sex's mobility and social interactions, specifically with males who are not their relatives. Furthermore, it is closely linked to female sexuality and specifically to the covering of the female bodies. So further on, according to Bose and Varghese, the male counterpart of sharam is called izzat, which generally refers to pride, honor, or self-respect. The concept of izzat is affected by the lives and actions of the woman in the family. As argued by Wilson, a woman can have izzat, but it is not her own. It is her husband's or father's. This informs us that unbecoming behavior, especially by a female family member, has a negative influence on the family's honor and good name. Additionally, Bose states that although it is shameful in Asian cultures for both girls and boys to have sex outside the marriage, women seem to bear a heavier burden as more shame about the sexual act is attached to the girls. Such embarrassment about the sexual act when it is committed by women can be seen in a few examples from the short story. One particular aspect of shame as a result of having failed to live up to people's social and moral expectations can be seen in Manisha's character. So from the beginning of the story, we are told of the indifference shown by Manisha's mom, despite the young lady's many efforts to win her mother's love and affection and attention. As a grown-up university lecturer, Manisha seems adamant to get her mother's response towards events happening in her life. When she informs her mother about Bijoy, that is her boyfriend, Bijoy's career as a psychology professor in California, the latter only responds that he must be a most interesting man. At the moment, Manisha is described as wanting to say something brutal to shock her mother from her indifference. So she wanted to say this to her mother, but she couldn't say it out loud. You are right, mother. He is very interesting, especially in bed. However, she later decides to swallow her words, as such a response would not bring any good to her relationship with her mother. This is because having premarital sex is still frowned upon in many Eastern societies. For the next one, which is representations of silence involving secrets, these can be referred to as a form of information control, in which certain information is being controlled by an individual who purposely conceals the information. And this is according to Evangelisti and Collin. When we talk specifically of family secrets, these can be defined as the deliberate concealment of information by one or more family members who are affected by the information. These family secrets may include a wide variety of issues related to the family, such as incest, alcoholism, domestic violence, and so on. So a particular instance of silence involving secrets in the text is when Manisha talks to her Aunt Mashi about her plans of choosing a wedding sari. She informs Mashi that she would like an orange and maroon sari for her wedding. Then she realizes that she might have been thinking of her mother's wedding sari, which she remembers finding in the bottom of a trunk, seemingly hidden like a sordid secret. Here, not only the secret is kept unknown from others, but it is also described in a sleazy manner, which probably hints towards a disgusting event which occurred. When Manisha announces that she would like a saffron sari for her wedding, her aunt falls silent for a while. It seems a meaningful silence, as a while later, the latter rejects her idea in a quiet manner. Oh, my dear, not saffron, not that. Such a reply raises more questions for Manisha and the reader. When Manisha's aunt further describes saffron as a sorrowful color and that it reminds her of something she refuses to elaborate on, the reader's curiosity is indeed piqued. As for gossip, Foster and Wilson et al. Have defined this as an activity which many people participate in, involving the exchange of information with evaluative content about absent third parties. Biersma and Cliff state that gossip is often described as an exclusively self-serving behavior with the intention of manipulating other people and influencing them, often in a malicious and negative way. Keltner et al. Argue that gossip also functions as a mechanism to control the behavior of dominant individuals by pressuring them to adhere to specific social norms. Additionally, Awad states that from the structural functionalist perspective, gossip is utilized to unify the community and establish stability and order, which is vital for the survival of the family and society. In this view, gossip is used by certain community members to spread an unpleasant story about a certain family's honor. In other words, to remind the family that their social and prestigious status is being jeopardized. A particular instance of silence involving gossip in the text is when the maid puts on the saffron sari, which used to belong to the mistress of the house. The mistress had earlier insisted that the maid wear the sari. We are told of how the cook's jaw dropped and the ayah drew in her breath so sharply when they saw the maid's appearance. This indicates to us that they are too shocked to say anything when they see the maid in that sari. This probably tells us that it is not proper for the maid to be wearing the sari belonging to the mistress. It is much later when the ayah mentions something which was probably directed at the maid using a proverb. So this is actually an Arab proverb. I later discovered this. When ants grew wings, the time of their doom had arrived. In this instance, the gossip is exchanged to others using a proverb. It is never directly mentioned and dealt with as it could present a threat to someone or to a specific hierarchy. So far from this paper, you could see that we have focused on the representations of silence involving ideas of shame, secrets, and gossip. Shame, secrets, and gossip are interrelated concepts which appear to carry a much heavier weight in Eastern communities compared to Western societies. This is evident from the author's portrayal of the female characters who have been shamed, gossiped, and harbored dark secrets in their lives. This paper was divided into three sections, with the first section exploring the character's silence or the lack of verbal responses as an effect of them feeling ashamed or embarrassed due to a particular wrongdoing. In the second section, I examined the character's silence or lack of verbal responses about certain secrets regarding their families or themselves. As for the third section, this provided an insight into the character's silence or lack of verbal responses about the gossip disseminated by other people in the community. So that's all. Thank you very much. And that's all for today.